Let me preface this video by saying there is no console company hatred on this channel. I am about video games. I love all consoles except for maybe the Sega Pico. I love Nintendo stuff, I love Sony stuff, I love Microsoft stuff. But sometimes companies make dumb decisions, and they make decisions that I don't necessarily agree with. Now, the Xbox brand was always very interesting to me. I thought the original Xbox was really pretty cool, and the Xbox 360 was one of the best systems, despite all the hardware issues initially, that it had. But when the Xbox One was announced and released, I really didn't have an interest in it. You had the Xbox One with the Kinect. It was like $500, and I never really got on board with it. Of course, they got rid of the Kinect, and then of course they made an upgrade with the Xbox One S. But now Xbox is poised to release yet another system in the Xbox One ecosystem with the Xbox Scorpio. And I've been studying the system, I've been talking to people. If you follow me on Twitter, you've seen my long-winded conversations today. But still, I'm still at the point where I am asking myself, who is going to buy the Xbox Scorpio? So I want to look at some different things. I want to talk about some different things, and maybe we can come to some sort of agreement and some sort of, common ground as to who this system is actually for. So let's get into it. At its core, the Xbox Scorpio is going to be the most powerful home console on the market when it releases. It'll allow for 4K gaming on your home television. It'll allow for old 360 games and Xbox One games to be potentially upscaled to 4K as well, which is pretty cool. 4K, I don't think is really there yet. I don't think it's going to be a household standard quite yet, but it is on the horizon. Within the next few years, I'm sure 4K will start to replace things. But that really is what the Scorpio is about. It's about raw power. It's a premium product coming from Microsoft. And right there is where I start having issues, because let's face it, the Xbox One has sold about half of what the PS4 has. Xbox One sold about 28 million units worldwide. That's definitely not, a bad number. That's a very respectable number. But the fact is, right now, Microsoft has two different SKUs on the market. They have, of course, the standard fat Xbox One, and they have the Xbox One S, which is a slimmed down model. It has a 4K Blu-ray player, and it's a little bit more expensive, but you do get a little bit more for your buck. And then we're going to have the Scorpio. So that's going to be three different SKUs of the same console on the marketplace. And although PlayStation is doing that right now with the PS4, the PS4 Slim, and the PS4 Pro, let's face it, these midlife consoles aren't doing what companies thought they were gonna do. And I always thought it was a weird decision to do that in the first place. But you notice how you haven't really had any concrete numbers come out from Sony or Microsoft about the sales of the Xbox One S or the PlayStation 4 Pro? Well, the only real information that we've gotten is from GameStop's last investors briefing, where they went on record as saying in 2016 the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One S did not spike sales like they thought they would. They were overall disappointing, and that's one of the reasons why they were down in overall profits. So I don't think these systems are selling very well, but that's not to say they're bad systems. I think the Xbox One S is a very attractive system. It has a 4K Blu-ray player built into it, and it allows you to play all of your Xbox One games, and it's not all that expensive. The PS4 Pro is nice if you're into the whole VR thing, and if you want to play games that look a little bit better than they would on your standard system. Shorter loading times, more textures, etc., etc. But I think these companies thought that everyone was going to drop what they were doing and pick up these midlife, console upgrades. And when people didn't, they were kind of like, oh, well, that's interesting. And so at least Sony, Sony has such a dominating lead in this console generation. They've sold twice of what the Xbox One has. Sony has a little bit of freedom to play around with something like the PS4 Pro. Does Microsoft really have that sort of freedom with the Xbox Scorpio? I don't think they do. You see, when you look at Sony's strongest division is its gaming. When you look at Nintendo, Nintendo is gaming. That's all they really do. When you look at Microsoft, their gaming division has always been, at least home consoles, has always been one of their weaker things. And then you say to yourself, well, the PC is helping Microsoft, and you're totally right. You're totally right. PC gaming is big right now. Xbox One games can be played on the PC. But Are you going after the PC market with the Scorpio? Because I hate to tell you this, Microsoft, but a lot of PC gamers have already built their rigs to where they could play 4K games, and they've been doing it for a little bit, a little while now. I don't foresee PC gamers being like, oh, well, I gotta get this home console called the Scorpio that's probably gonna be $600 or $700 and play the same games that I'm playing on my PC. What's the point? Isn't that the market you're going for, is the PC market? But you have such a strong tie to the PC market because all of your exclusives are also on the PC, thus not really making them exclusives, but that's a discussion for a different day. So if all of your games are already on the PC and the PC is already gonna be stronger for the most part than the Scorpio, who is buying the Scorpio? Because let's face it, a small segment of gamers are the people who want the best. They want the best graphics, they want the best this, the best that, the most expensive, newest system on the market. There definitely is a market that exists, but that market is not small. That is not the mass market. If little Johnny goes into GameStop with his mom and pop and says, hey, I want to get an Xbox One, what do you think they're gonna pick up this holiday season? Are they gonna get the Xbox One S at half of the price, or could even be less than half the price, of the Xbox Scorpio? More than likely, yeah, because then you can buy games, and then you can do this and that. And you have to remember, the Xbox Scorpio is still tied into the Xbox One. Every game that runs on the Scorpio must run on the Xbox One. So there's not gonna be any Scorpio exclusives. So I ask again, what is the point of this system? Who is buying this system? I think Microsoft is making a mistake here, and it's a shame that they're making this mistake because I think the Xbox One S was actually helping them. I think that was helping their brand. Phil Spencer has been very vocal about, getting in touch with the gamers. But when you do things like cancel Scalebound, when you do things like make a premium SKU when the mid-console upgrades aren't doing all that well, it almost makes it look like you're going kind of in a tizzy and you're not really sure what direction to go in and you're panicking. Because let's face it, probably the most successful mid-generation console was the Nintendo new 3DS. And what did that have on it? Xenoblade Chronicles, The Binding of Isaac, and a slightly upgraded Hyrule Warriors. Did developers really harness that power? Did developers go out of their way to make games for the new 3DS XL? No. Why? Because everyone already owned a 3DS. Much like the PS4. Are developers really going out of their way, aside from first-party developers, are they really going out of their way to harness that extra PS4 Pro power? Not really. So if you have the most dominant handheld and developers aren't really using that extra power, you have the most dominant home console and developers aren't really using that power, why in the hell do you think that developers would use the extra power with the Scorpio when you have sold half of the units? You're going to have to tie in with the original Xbox One. It's going to have to run on the Xbox One. So you're gonna have to do all this extra legwork. You're gonna have to do all this extra stuff to make premium stuff on the Scorpio. Why? What is the point? Is it worth your time? Is it worth your effort? Is the Scorpio gonna be successful enough to where you will be rewarded by Scorpio owners purchasing your game? I don't think you're gonna see that, man. I honestly think this is a huge misstep. To me, looking at it, it reminds me a lot of the 32X. And we all know how the 32X was. It was sort of that bridge to get gamers until the Sega Saturn came out. And these consoles have started to be around the block long enough to where you could start thinking of proper successors. And these little mid-generation things just aren't cutting it for gamers. Gamers aren't that interested in it. There is a small segment of power-hungry people that will be, but that segment is not going to put bread on the table. That segment is not going to boost your sales through the roof. And one more thing I would like to mention. Phil Spencer actually went on record when the Scorpio was revealed, saying that they don't plan on the Scorpio selling all that well, that the Xbox One S will continue to push the Microsoft brand, and that this is just a premium product for premium fans. So you're putting time and development, you're putting time and effort into research and development for this system that you're probably going to be taking huge losses on, because this is some of the most powerful stuff that we have seen on home consoles. And you're going to release a system with the expectation of it not selling that well, but you want to offer a premium product to your fans, but your fans are probably already satisfied with their Xbox One or Xbox One S, so they don't really have a reason to upgrade. You're not going to win over PS4 gamers because they're already happy. They already have console exclusives. The Switch audience is just crazy. We're just doing whatever we want with Nintendo Switch, and the PC audience is just laughing at you. I have a PS4. I have a Nintendo Switch. I have no desire for an Xbox Scorpio. If anything, I'll pick up a used Xbox One S, because that way I can play a couple different games on it. That way I can experience, some unique games that I haven't been able to play on the PS4 or the Switch. There's no way in hell I will be buying a Scorpio, and I think a lot of people feel that way. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think of the Scorpio in the comments section down below. Hopefully I managed to cover everything I wanted to talk about. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, check out other videos on the channel, and if you really like my face and my opinions, check out my Patreon page. Put your comments down in the comments section below. Let's talk about the Scorpio, and I will catch you guys next time. Later.